And education is hard. It is a lifestyle, I say. It is not a career, it is a lifestyle. And it takes special people to handle that. And we are so rewarded, but sometimes those rewards and gratitudes are delayed. And so you've got to constantly be filling each other's cups because it's a high stress job. And so you just want to support people and make people feel seen and valued.
Just like we do with the kids. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes. You're exactly right. We're still people, and
right.
We still don't get good sleep and wake up and have bad hair days. And, it makes jobs hard sometimes. So anything we can do to support and help our people is our mission.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Jessie Thomas. Jessie is a special education supervisor, and she is at Lancaster City School Districts, and that's in Lancaster, Ohio. Jessie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity.
Awesome. So tell our listeners a little bit about you and your journey to becoming a special education supervisor and a little bit about Lancaster City Schools.
So this is my 14th year in education. I have spent most of those in middle school. So I have really great stories.
I bet.
I spent 10 years in the classroom. I was primarily an 8th grade English and science teacher at my alma mater. So that was awesome. And then 4 years ago, I was recruited by one of my wonderful mentors to come to Lancaster and start my admin journey. So I started and spent a year at Lancaster High School as the MTSS coordinator. And
Nice.
then I was asked to move to the position I hold now, which is the special education supervisor at one of our middle schools. And I absolutely love it. Throughout that time, I have also gotten my superintendent's license and began teaching at Ohio State, which is also my alma mater. So a lot of full circle moments in my career, and it's just very rewarding to be able to give back.
Awesome.
Lancaster is a pretty significantly large district. We are just shy of about 7,000 students, 5 elementaries, 2 middle schools, 1 large high school. We are very, very proud of our district. We're about 25 minutes southeast of Columbus, so rural, but still have some city life in there. And our high school is actually very well known because we are a comprehensive high school, which means that we have our own career tech program within our district. So our kiddos have so many opportunities, and when they graduate, we have so many that are ready to hit the ground running for the workforce, prepped for the military, obviously, then the college route as well. So we're a pretty awesome place. Yeah.
Yeah. And MTSS is multi-tiered system of support. Most of our listeners will know that, but in case you don't know, that's what that is. So, yeah, I told you we do that, don't we? We don't even realize we're doing it. We don't even realize we're doing it.
So many meetings I sent in, and I always tell people, I'm like, if I say an acronym that you don't understand, please stop me, because it just rolls off your tongue after so long, and you don't even think about it. And then you're like, oh, wait, yeah. It
took me a minute. It took me a minute. I was like, I remember we had a school come to us and they're like, we're starting an MTSS program. Can you guys help us out? And I was like, what's MTSS? I had to look it up. We've been doing it for several years now, but it's just like, wow, that's awesome. I knew RTI, response to intervention, but I was like,
when I first took this position, I would make a list and ask my friend. I'd be like, what does that mean? And so I created my own little dictionary to keep up. So
yeah, awesome. Awesome. So you talked a little bit about Lancaster City School Districts, but you guys have some really cool programs going on in special education. Tell us about those.
We do. So within our district, we are very, very blessed. We have co-teaching, which means that we have the general education teacher, but then we also have an intervention specialist in all core areas, which is not common. Most schools only have, math and language arts, but we are blessed to be able to branch out into the science and social studies world as well, which is very, very beneficial for our kids.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of RTI programs, response to intervention, support systems. All of our kiddos that are identified in special education have specific time with their intervention specialists that they get to have their one-on-one tutoring and work on their SDI, which is their specially designed instruction. That's defined in their IEPs. Um, and we just are a really proud district. We have a lot of career tech programs at the middle school level. Also, we have woodshop and family and consumer science, which is kind of like a home ec type of situation, robotics, um, medical detectives. We have so many opportunities for our kids to show their genius outside of the typical classroom, which is really powerful for our kids.
Yeah, and I love that about schools. They're really starting significantly, and it seems to be a wave I'm hearing over and over again is individualized education plans. IEPs is what they were, but it's
Right.
starting to become individualized plans for general education students as well.
Yes. Yes, you're exactly right. And, so often we only focus on, reading, writing, math, and science, social studies. But there are so many cool things that kids can do and skills that they possess that don't fall in those categories. So giving them those opportunities to share their genius is really powerful and really, really helps our kiddos
Yeah,
that struggle to find who they are. So
for sure. Yeah, and
yeah,
and it's important that that they have a place of, and that they're doing things that they like, and they because they can carry that over into
absolutely.
wherever. Yeah,
Absolutely. And so
yeah,
many of our professions, our kiddos go off into the real world and they maybe don't have a job that pertains to those four cores, but they do have things that could pertain to some of these electives and outside courses that really kind of change their lives. And that's really powerful.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So one of the things that you and I have talked about is what you're doing for your employees. Give us some more information about how that's working, and it sounds like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is actually very, very cool. So, in the state of Ohio, when our teacher candidates graduate from their 4-year college, they go into a program called RESA, which is a resident educator program, very similar to a medical doctor having a residency.
Right.
Um, so, it's intended that they have a mentor and really are shaped to kind of just have somebody to help them through those beginning years of their profession. But in addition to that, we have seen areas where there is more support needed. So I have created a program. I call it New Gales because we're a Gale. So the New Gales program is for our new employees, and we meet monthly on just kind of the whole gambit of things that could pop up in a new employee's mind. The beginning of the year, they get a very detailed binder with things from calendars to how to put in for leave to things as simple as like, where do I park? Where, where should I be during class transitions? Things that we as veterans kind of take for granted and we don't even think about it. But as a new person, like that can be very intimidating to ask those kinds of questions. And then we move into things like helping them work through the teacher evaluation system and how do we handle things that are kind of bigger deals like lockdowns and fire drills, like things that really kind of just spread the world of our job. And we really focus on them as individuals. Being a teacher is very hard and teacher
Yeah.
burnout rate is very real. And
Hmm.
we want to make sure that we are supporting our new employees from day one, as a professional, but also as a human as well. So we really kind of tailor just working with them and making sure they feel supported and empowered. Helping them see their different options. It's kind of hard to think down the line and about the future when you're brand new to the profession, but that's the time that you start thinking about, where you would want to advance to and different things of that nature. So this is our first year doing it. And we are very proud of that. So
What if every student could work with a therapist who brings not just credentials, but years of experience and wisdom to the table? At Lighthouse Therapy, most of our therapists have over 16 years of real world experience. We don't just fill seats. Instead, we find therapists who've seen it all and know how to help. And every new therapist is paired with a mentor to help them guide them every step of the way. Whether through virtual, hybrid, or in-person delivery, your students are getting services that's thoughtful, experienced, and genuinely human. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn more. And what kinds of results are you seeing?
So such good ones. They are creating a bond within their cohort. So as new teachers, and they are all different grade levels. They are different, complete different ends of the campus, and people that would never interact naturally. So they are not. There would not really be a reason for them to speak to each other. But this kind of is forced socialization in a sense, but gives them this safe space to be with people that are going through similar things like them, and to lean on each other and really learn from one another. So it's been really, really powerful and beautiful.
So how do you make that happen? Like, what are some of the how did you set it up and how do you make that happen?
So it really kind of just started from when I was doing my internship for my superintendent's license, my professor asking like, what do you want to work on? Like, what is something you're passionate about? And I am passionate about my people. I am
Mhm.
passionate about supporting and growing our profession. And so that kind of just led to, okay, how do I do that? And thinking about things that I wish I had had 14 years
Ah,
ago,
there you go. Yeah.
and remembering just the sheer fear you have of like, I don't even know where the bathroom is. And then I have to go ask this question of these people that I've never met before. And you're already so intimidated and overwhelmed. So that really kind of just started this snowball effect of things that I could think through. And then as I thought of something, I'd think about the next thing and, oh, we better add that in.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and so it's really kind of just transformed from what I remember, from what I've seen with my colleagues. I've talked to some of my newer teachers that have been here for a few years but are still new teachers, of things of like, where did we miss the mark? What could we have done
Mhm.
better for you? What do you
Right.
wish you would have had here? And that has been so, so supportive and helpful. And we live and grow, and we'll continue to improve and refine it, but we're really proud of it.
Yeah. It's so hard to get teachers and to get them to stay and there's never enough funds and
There's not. Yeah.
yeah.
And education is hard. It is a lifestyle, I say. It is not a career, it is a lifestyle. And it takes special people to handle that. And we are so rewarded, but sometimes those rewards and gratitudes are delayed. And so you've got to constantly be filling each other's cups, because it's a high stress job. And so you just want to support people and make people feel seen and valued.
Just
Because
like we do with
sometimes,
the kids. Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
exactly, you're exactly right. We're still people, and
Right.
we still don't get good sleep and wake up and have bad hair days, and like, it makes jobs hard sometimes. So anything we can do to support and help our people is our mission.
For sure. Yeah, that's fantastic. So what kind of advice would you give to a superintendent or well, not a superintendent, you're gonna be there, I know you will, but
Thank you.
a special education super you said superintendent, so that's where my brain went. Language. Hello.
It's
Anyway.
okay.
It's so funny because, you never stop. We talked a little bit before we went on camera that I'm an SLP and then
Mhm.
I'm a CEO and a business owner,
Right,
right? But you're
right.
always a teacher first,
Always,
and you're always a
always.
therapist first. It just is crazy, but that's how that's where we're gifted. But the question I had as my brain went down that rabbit hole, is what would you say, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's going into a role as a special education director or supervisor as you are, who, I've been a special education teacher for say 4 years and I got offered this position and what do I do? Yeah.
So
So
exciting.
yeah.
Um, I think I think my most valuable bit of advice was to be a sponge. I absorbed
Mm,
everything that I could. I learned from the kids. I learned from my teachers. I learned from my peers. I am blessed that I am one of about 9 special education supervisors in our district. So I had some really great knowledge to tap into. Um, but I've also been very blessed. My team is outstanding and they have helped me and like they just are very understanding and have let me grow in this position and um they are truly my foundation and I appreciate them so much. So I think telling somebody who would go into this position, learn as much as you can from the people around you. They
yeah.
are, our most valuable resources. And there's a lot to learn and you're not going to learn it all in one day or a month or a year.
Mhm.
So, you find your rhythm and you sit down at the end of each year and you reflect and say this is what we need to improve for next year and then tackle that. And so I think just being a sponge was the best bit of advice.
Awesome. Okay. So, where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about Lancaster City Schools and Jessie Thomas? Where do they want to go if they want to learn more about Jessie Thomas? There we go. Good
So,
grief.
the Lancaster City Schools website is a wonderful resource for our community and just for people who are interested in our district. Our motto is the place to be, and that is very
Oh,
much
nice.
what we feel. And we work really hard to create an environment and a world where people want to be
Mhm.
kids, adults, staff,
Awesome.
everybody from our superintendent to our kindergartners. We want them to be here. So, we work really hard. We're very connected with our community. Like the city of Lancaster is a huge supporter of our school district and vice versa, and we have some wonderful collaborations that are happening. So if you literally just go to the city of Lancaster, Ohio, you're going to see some really great stuff.
Awesome. I'm glad you said Ohio because I was gonna put that in there. Not
Yes,
Pennsylvania,
not
guys. Not
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
We are
Not
Buckeyes.
Pennsylvania. Ohio. The Buckeyes. Yeah. Yeah. My husband's a Buckeye.
Yeah.
I'm unfortunately not a Buckeye. I wish I was more of a Buckeye because I love my Cornhuskers. I was born and raised in Nebraska, and they haven't done so well. Breaks my heart. But it's like
You
it's
still
kind of
got
like a
some red in there.
yeah, yeah. I keep hoping they'll get the last time that they won a national championship, I was in the hospital giving birth to my daughter, who is now
Lord.
28 years old. Ah.
They're due.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
due.
Uh, so,
But look at
anyway.
Indiana. Indiana had a
Yeah.
beautiful
Well,
season
you
this
guys had
year,
a couple
so
of really good years. I mean, and I
yeah.
love it's funny because I have Ohio State shirts. I have a sweatshirt actually because I told my husband last year, not this year where they didn't make it, but the year before, I said, "If they win the national championship, I will buy you an national championship sweatshirt and I will get one for me." And I got one and it's really cute. But
There
but
you
I was
go.
like, so I have my Ohio State championship sweatshirt and I love that sweatshirt actually. It's one of my favorites. But yeah. But I have lots of Nebraska sweatshirts too.
Fair
So, can
enough.
take the girl out of the country. Yeah. So, anyway. All right. Well, Jesse, it has woo again. I went it's a rabbit hole kind of day
It's
today.
okay.
So, thank you so much for being on here. I love your passion. I love what you guys are
Oh,
doing. The
thank you.
therapist and the kids and your team and the teachers are all benefiting from your passion and it definitely shines through. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for this opportunity.